Jesus knew that relationships would be strained. He knew that they would be broken. He knew that they would be problematic. And so he says to us, this is how you're going to handle it when an offense occur in your life. This is how you handle it. All right? In other words, what he's saying is, this is how you protect your relationship with the person that you do love. This is how you protect the relationship between you and the people you can't get away from. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, you have to go home to your wife or your husband or your children. And now even your grandchildren. I heard somebody say, I love them, but I don't like them. So Jesus says this to us. And so when we look at this in verse number 15, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, notice this, that you should go to him and tell him his fault. When we use that word trespass, it's coming from the book of Romans, chapter number 3, verse number 23. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. If you look up that word trespass, you will see it's an overstepping of a boundary between good and evil. When you overstep the boundary, then you are no longer doing good, you're now doing evil. This is what we don't know. If Paul knew where the boundary was when he said what he said, he never would have said it. But when the word came to him, the word set the boundary and said, Paul, you crossed the boundary and you have done evil. He says, I didn't know. I am sorry, because the word says. He got lined up with the word. When we're in relationship, we don't know where individuals' boundaries are. And therefore, when we create an offense and they come to us, they're coming to us saying, you have crossed the boundary in my life. When you deny what they said, then you're assuming that you know everything, even where that person's boundaries are. And that's what you don't know. You don't know what boundaries each individual has that you're in relationship. You don't know where they come from. You don't know what their experiences were. You don't know how they were brought up. You don't know what they know about dealing with people. You just don't know. So when a brother or sister comes to you and says, listen, I've been offended by what you did, what they're saying is, you crossed my personal boundary between good and evil. You were treating me good, but this last incident, you created evil. You don't know you did because it's my boundary. And so the position, I'm going to call these people person A and person B. When person B creates the offense and person A goes to person B and said, I have an offense. Something happened and I'm not feeling good about it. Person B is to find out, what is it? And then when they find out what is it, person B is not to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do it. You don't know about person A's boundaries. You see, when you're married and you're spending time with your husband or wife or even with your children, you can establish and you know certain boundaries in the home. You know certain things that you should and should not do with one another because you know them, because you have spent so much time with them. But you still don't know everything about them. This is why certain people in relationships get upset and mad and etc. because we don't know everyone's boundaries. If we can get this part in our lives, I believe that our relationships will go to another level. Jesus said it like this: offenses are going to come. But he said, woe unto the one who brings the offense. He says, woe, because if a person is offensive in what they say and what they do, and they're not aware of it, and they continue to do it, then basically some negative things are going to happen in their lives. That's where the woe comes in. This is why when we read the scripture and get it explained, that we want to make sure that we position ourselves so we reduce the offense that we're making in other people's lives. Don't think that you don't offend people, because the word says we all stumble in word. So the moment you start thinking, that's not me, I'll be glad when next week you're here so we can talk about another message. Right off the cuff, you got the wrong